this is the bed of my truck with my cap on it. I'm going to try to visualize what I'm going to build here. So on the left-hand side to about the halfway point, I'm going to have a full-length sliding drawer. On top of that drawer, it's probably going to come up to about this, where this bar is here. It's just going to be a flat platform with a wooden insert for a sleeping pad. So that'll be half the truck. That'll be fine. I do want the option to have a bigger bed though, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this spot blank, put some shelves on the right, and I'll make it so I can slide another piece of wood in there to have a full, basically a queen size bed. So slide out drawer on the left, some basic kind of storage on the right, a little platform. That way I can have my legs down here and cook or do whatever on the platform on the right. The idea is to make it so I can add a second full-length drawer if I want to. Not in the plans for right now. I think I'll have plenty of storage on the left-hand side. So this door doesn't have a handle on the outside, only the right side does. I want to make it so I only have to open the right door and I can walk down a little kind of faux hallway and have room to move around. So let's get started. Alright, I'm going to start laying this out in the rough shape I want it. So all the pieces I had cut are roughly 8 feet. The bed is a little longer than 8 feet, but we're going to have a lip on the front edge, so it is going to be spaced out this way. So I may end up cutting them down a little more from what they are now, but I'll worry about that when I get there. This piece was initially going to be mounted, but not happy with the clearance, so I ended up purchasing some 1/2 inch. This was just 3/8. So I got some 1/2 inch, and this is actually overkill. It's solid too. I should have gotten a little hollow 1/2 inch too, but it is what it is. So plan is to mount the bearings to this piece, and this rides in between it. It will ride on this upper, bearing, so the shelf will sit down onto this 1/2 inch rod. But what we will have is this needs to be some predetermined distance off the floor, which that distance is going to be about 2 inches. So initially what I was going to do was mount it at the top of this. 1 inch, I wasn't thinking, that's not high enough. This will be on the, rub it on the floor. And that's where this 2 inch will come into play. So I'll have one on the left, one dead center, and one on the far right, 2 inches. I'm not planning on using the one on the far right, but I'm putting it in there if I want to add a second slide out drawer. But right now I'm not doing that. So what this will look like, let's just go ahead and lay some of this out. So this is my 2 inch by 1 inch. It's actually 14 gauge, a little thicker than 16th inch, but it's going to support all the drawers, and it's fine. I mean, I can lift all this stuff. I'll be able to lift hopefully this whole system out by myself, so we'll see. I am really glad I didn't paint the floor of the truck before this, though. This is also 3/16 3-inch angle iron, which is a bit overkill, but it's all they had for 3-inch at the metal distributor, so it's going to work. Plus, the way I have this laid out is it's going to hold all the weight of everything. So I want to have bins that drop into it versus building this as a supporting drawer. That'll make more sense later. Okay, so this 1/2-inch piece will get mounted here, and then we'll have the drawer hopefully mounted high enough. It might just barely clear. So we'll have a little less than 1/4 inch between the bearings and this lip here. Not ideal, but again, it's what we got. I am trying to save height because I do want to be able to sit in here without being too cramped. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up my bandsaw and I'm going to start cutting some stuff. A little bit about what I'm going to try to build. Now here's the first set of pieces. I'm going to tack all these up. I saved you the agony of all the cutting and measuring. I'll save you the agony of most of the grinding and getting ready to tack up. But yeah, we'll start this very first piece. I know working on the ground isn't ideal, but let's see what we can do. It's probably impossible to see this, but this is the general layout of the box. It's going to be on the left-hand side. So that'll be the back. This will be the front. You'll notice there's no piece at the bottom on the front. I can put flat bar there if I need to, but I'm trying to leave that low profile so the drawers can slide out. The drawers are just going to be on 3-inch 3/16 angle iron. That's definitely overkill, but it's all they had. Plus I'll be able to load like 1,000 pounds in these things. The idea is to have a drawer frame that fits these plastic containers. But to be determined. Let's see what we can figure out. It's going to slide on skateboard bearings. Should be simple enough, but the main thing I want to get sorted is the sleeping platform. Obviously I'm not 8 feet tall, but the extra storage will be nice. So these little supports will go across to support the wood for the bed. And on the other side, I'll have that same bar running down here and running down the cabinet side, so a piece of wood will sit into place. So let's start the task of grinding all this down, tacking it up, and seeing how it fits. I made these about half-inch shorter on each side and added a 45-degree cut. That way when I tack them in place on these end pieces, I'll have room to do the final weld up in the corners of this piece. I just want to get everything tacked and test fit before I do any final welds. That way if something's not right, it won't be that big of a deal to come back and undo everything. This is the bottom portion of the drawer, and what I've got going on is this is actually going to be the top. So this is half-inch square stock, definitely overkill, but that's what I had. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it every 6 inches or so, probably for about an inch, all the way down, just on the top here, because I want a smooth surface for my bearings to ride on. So this is actually going to be sitting like this, and what I'm doing is this little 9-inch piece is just my spacer to make this nice and flush, because both of these pieces have a little bevel on it, so this will make sure everything's nice and square. But yeah, let's get to tacking. That was a disaster. Everything is tacked up for the most part. These are the bottom two rails here with the slider tacked on. This actual drawer, I'm not going to tack anything because I need to drill out, put the bearings and bolts and everything in, and figure out how much width I lose with the bearings. So that'll be done last. And then that is the top over here. And I didn't want to tack the top to the bottom until everything's in place. So there's just a couple more things. I'm going to tack, well, I'm going to loosely put everything in place in the truck, and then I'm going to tack the back bar. So there's a bar in the back that I'll tack these two rails together. That'll just be at the bottom, and then the top will be there, and then it'll be open in the front and the bottom. Anyway, let's take a look. Oh, she's a little wild. That's pretty good though. Alright, well, this is all wonky. But that's pretty good. Nice to see it start to come together. Okay. Whew. So this should give a little better idea of how it works. Let's come over here. This door will remain shut. And this is pretty flush. I'll be able to walk in and have all this room for bikes, whatever. And then there'll be a little bit of storage on the right hand side. Have cooler in here, stove, whatever. Pretty pleased. Sorry, the glare is pretty bad, but I don't think I can shut both of these. You can see how that lines up. Anyway, I'm stoked. You can also see this. So the angle iron will go in here. I don't have bearings, mostly on the top, a couple on the bottom, and then on the back I'll have like a million on the bottom and top, 8 bearings on both sides. Probably need more bearings, but that way it won't tip down. I just have really good support.